Huh. You know, I tend to try and make like scripted content, and that normally works out pretty well. But this is the first time where I'm really like just kind of leaning in on like my mental, leaning in on how I try to do things. See, I have ADHD. My ADHD manifest is like basically I'm just one giant, massive ball of just constantly thinking energy. And, you know, I try to edit all that down because, that's important to do. But this is like the first time where I'm just going to let my thoughts flow, you know? I don't know if this is a podcast or if this is just me talking and hoping someone attempts to listen. I'm not gonna do a lot of edits for this, so apologies, but that's just how my brain works, man. I don't know what to tell you, bro. uh, if you hear anything in the background, I'm looking at my girlfriend's stream on Twitch. She does crafts. But I'll turn it down. I'll turn it down. Um, I don't want to turn her down. Anyway, um, so name's Tay, or at least I'll let y'all call me Tay. Um, it's short for something. Um, yeah, I'm Tay. You can call me Tay DZ. You can call me T. You can't call me TT. Girlfriend won't let you call me. Well, she won't let you call me that. Don't do that. And yeah, I guess this is my Ramble Room. Welcome in. What will I talk about? I'm not gonna hold you. Anything? I'm kind of into a lot of things, y'all. I'm not really into like specific things. I'm kind of eclectic, honestly. You want to talk about anime? Let's talk about some anime. Like, you want to talk about Western cartoons? I guess talk about Western cartoons. I'm down with that. Want to talk about some live action shows? Sure, I've seen some live action shows. You know, want to talk about some CSI? Hey, man, I've seen CSI. Talk about music? I listen to a lot of music. Want to talk about sports? Love me some sports, specifically football and basketball. But I can talk a bit of baseball and I can talk a bit of hockey. Only sport I can't talk to you about is bull riding. If anyone out there is a bull riding fan and they want to talk to me about some bull riding, let's talk about it. Um, let's talk about some world history. Let's talk about some U.S. history. Let's talk about Canadian history. Let's talk about the history of Togo, man. I'm down for talks about Togo. I just talk about whatever, man. I'm not really. Oop, Discord sound. Can't have that happening now, can we? Yeah, I'm also on Discord, y'all. I'm doing a lot, but yeah, I'm kind of just out here, man. I just talk about a lot of stuff. Most of the videos I posted on my channel have been about sports, but I also, I feel like it's helped me to kind of be about a lot of things as opposed to one thing. I think the main thing about it is when you're able to talk about like a lot of things, you can kind of like blend in, make new friends, make lots of friends. So I feel like I feel like a lot of people just don't. That's what I'm looking for. Hmm. I feel like people don't. Sometimes I have lapses of brain power, y'all. Apologies. No, like sometimes I feel like a lot of times people can't relate to others because they don't try to put themselves in other shoes. I feel like some people just don't, you know, we 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 all have different interests, and unfortunately that has created a gap in some levels of human interaction, and that's fine. Now, wait a minute, I disabled you. Don't do this to me. Don't you know what, as a matter of fact, bam. You can't do it to me now. Can't you can't get me with that now. I've muted the whole computer. Ah. Um yeah, like I don't know, man. I don't know, y'all. I just like talking about random things, different things with people. I'm into so many things that if somebody wants to talk sports, I can talk sports. And if they want to talk anime, if another person wants to talk anime, I'm down with that too. I'm at work. A couple years ago, I had these two coworkers. One coworker's in the anime, the other coworker was into sports. I could talk with both of them pretty well. It's just sort of, I don't know, maybe it's a superpower. Maybe I'm just so, you know, attention deficit riddled that I'm just into a lot of things. But I'm not like a genius at anything. The only thing I'm a genius at is running my mouth, I guess. So, yeah. I mean, hey, this is what you're going to get in my ramble room. Step on in and listen to me, basically talk about random stuff for what, like 15, 20 minutes maybe? It's going to be unedited, so yeah. Um, man, I'm also eventually, maybe I'll bring on some friends as well, you know. Hmm. Speaking of sports, I have to say, the draft just happened, and God have mercy, the NFL draft was one of the most predictable things one of the most predictable drafts we've had in a long time, except for Atlanta. I don't know what the heck Atlanta was doing, drafting Michael Penix Jr. first. I have a friend, man. Shouts to Cootie KD on YouTube. Go follow him. He's a cool guy. Um, Cootie KD, my boy, he is a Falcons fan. He's also a Rams fan. He's a fan of both. Also, he hates Tom Brady. Just take two guesses why. Um, you know, he was so excited to get Michael Penix, and I remember during like even after the national championship like blowout, he was like, "Yeah, I still want Michael Penix Jr." Even after they got Kirk, he's like, "Yeah, this one Michael Penix Jr. That's my boy. I want him." He's not a Washington fan, by the way. He just really wanted Michael Penix Jr. I tell him, you know, man, you really want this man. And you know what? Kudos to him. He got the guy. They got the guy he wanted. Uh, should he have been drafted so early? My boy basically says, "Look, I'm going to overlook that because they got my guy." And it's cool. It's cool. You know what? He does not mind that slander, and I have to give him his credit for that. He does not mind that. The slander does not affect this man whatsoever. And I told him straight. I was like, you know what? Y'all are going to enter a new era with this guy. I feel like the good 4 years you're going to get out of him being a starter will be all worth it. I also told him that this is like, if you had a nickel for every time the Falcons drafted a black left-handed mobile quarterback named Michael, whose last name is vaguely phallic. I mean, he'd have two nickels. there will be 2 nickels, and I'm not going to hold you. That's a lot of nickels for this kind of situation. Um, he called me he called me a foul fiend. Anyway, the draft was really it wasn't interesting, but it was kind of predictable. I guess the interesting thing about it was the fact that no defensive player was taken until like the second half of the first round. Never happened before. Really hasn't happened in like ages, I guess. Not gonna hold you again. That's kind of crazy. Why? Well, let me not. Oh, she laughing along with me. It's funny. It's kind of crazy. I'm not gonna hold you. Why, guys? Actually, no. I know why, because the NFL is gonna skew towards offense next year, and it's been doing it for a minute. But I think after the whole no hip drop tackle thing, I think we're like just fully getting into that era. And it's funny. So like, I'm an Eagles fan. So when we got see, okay, when we I wanted white boy Cooper DeJean, Cooper DeJean, Cooper DeJean, Coop. I wanted Cooper so bad. I wanted him so bad, and they drafted Quinyon Mitchell. And granted, I was kind of like with my friends. I was like, no, no, how dare they draft this man? You know what? We're trying. The Eagles are trying to solve racism. Okay. And of course, then I got happy because then we got a Coop anyway. I mean, I wanted Quinyon too. I'm not gonna hold you. I did want Quinyon. I just didn't think we'd actually be able to get him. I figured he would have went like top 15. Actually, I thought Miami was gonna get one of these corners before us. I'm not even sure how we made out with both Quinyon and Coop. I really don't know. So at this point, I think Eagles fans have been saying this is like the Lito Shepherd and oh my gosh, what's the other one? What's the other one? It's a draft from '02 when it was Lito Shepherd and see, now I gotta Google it. I feel so silly. I'm an Eagles fan and I don't know. Please pardon me, y'all. Pardon me. Lito Shepherd, Sheldon Brown. Cool. This is the draft. This is the '02 draft where we got both of them, and they are a pretty solid cornerback duo for like the next 4-5 years or so. You know, yeah, I think this is going to happen again. I think we're going to have a pretty solid duo. I think they're both going to be elite. Under Vic Fangio, I think one of them will. You know, mark my. Wood, right? This is wood. There we go. Knocked on it real quick. Mark my words. They're going to be one of them is going to be pretty elite. The other one's going to be quite okay. Pardon the microphone knocking around. Didn't mean to do that on purpose. I'm just moving the mic around a bit. There we go. Had to get a little bit more comfortable. Microphone was on my bed. Didn't want that to happen. I'm kind of being a little ghetto right now, y'all. Pardon me. But yeah, man. Yeah, y'all. I don't know. I don't know what it is. I really wanted a corner, and we came up with two good ones. I don't know how we did it, man. I don't know. Well, I know how we did it, but I had a friend of mine. He called Howie a social media GM, and I was confused by that term. And I guess people think Howie's a social media GM. What's his name? Nick Wright. I think he tried to say that Howie Roseman just, drafts what's on the boards of like big name sports casters and the sports pundits like Mel Kiper and whatnot. I mean, I don't know. I feel like that's a very weird strike against. It's a weird thing to give him a strike for. Being someone who drafts BTA. You know, I don't know. I don't think that's a reason to dislike Howie or to say Howie's not a good or it's not a good reason to discredit Howie's draft, especially when there are legitimate things that we can criticize Howie for, such as his reluctance to draft a linebacker in the first couple rounds instead of going for scraps in the latter half of the draft. I think in Howie's time here, and granted, maybe you don't want to count the Chip Kelly years. Even okay, fine. Let's not even count Chip Kelly. Let's only count the 2016 draft forward. Howie's draft record with linebackers is abysmal. It's not good. I think he was in the office for Jordan Hicks, I believe, but Jordan Hicks got hurt a lot. But even then, after 2016 beyond, we have not had a good linebacker drafted here. We had a pretty good safety, Marcus Epps, but Marcus Epps didn't want to stay here. He wanted to go to, he wanted to go back home to Chicago. Receiver used to be a bad thing for Howie, and granted, eventually he got Devontae Smith, and I'm not going to sit here and say that Howie's the most amazing drafter of receivers ever, but most GMs can barely draft one receiver, and Howie got one. So I'd say at the end of the day, he's not the worst. He could be better, but he's not the worst. It's just unfortunate that all the other receivers Howie drafted have been buns. QB, it's hard. Carson was a consensus top 2 draft pick. And yet, at the end of the day, it looks like Jared Goff is doing better, and Dak is doing better than both of them. Relatively, at least. I mean, actually. Yeah, I guess Dak is doing better in terms of personal accolades, though. Jared Goff has been to a Super Bowl and has been to 2 conference championships, and Dak has not been to either, but I digress. I guess Dak technically is the better quarterback. I guess. But when it comes to Howie, quarterback, I mean, he's drafted 2 quarterbacks in the top 2 rounds, and that is Carson Wentz and Jalen Hurts. Carson Wentz had a really good 2017. His 2016 was his rookie year. It was okay. It showed promise. His 18 was kind of a downgrade, but he was still hurt. His 2019 was not as great as 2017, but I still think it was pretty impressive. And then after that, it just went downhill post Clowney shot, and then of course Jalen Hurts, promising 2021, really good 2022. His 2023, he took it was a bit of a downgrade, but it wasn't the worst he could have been. His pick numbers were high, but I think he can recover from that. We pray he's not another Carson Wentz. Yeah, but Howie's, every GM has like their specialty, and Howie's specialty is drafting in the trenches. Howie rarely misses. And part of that is also because he has, Jeff Stoutland, probably one of the greatest, not the greatest, freaking O-line coach of all time. I mean, this guy has 3 Hall of Famers. Well, I'll say 2.5 right now. If only because Lane Johnson still is, he's still playing, but I think Lane Johnson will end up being a Hall of Famer by the end. But he has Jason Peters under him, and he has Jason Kelsey under him. Brandon Brooks would have been a perennial All-Pro had he been healthy. He turned Jordan Mailata into a near Pro Bowl talent after he'd never played football a day in his life. I mean, you got to give Jeff Stalin his flowers. He turned Halapulati Vaitai into a guy who can be reasonably good on a Lions. I believe he's on the Lions. Is he still on the Lions? I think he is. I know he's on that Lions O line now. You know, Howie drafts in the trenches well, but also Howie trusts Jeff Stoutland. Still, Howie builds a good team. Howie builds a really good team, and I think he's definitely like a top 5, top 3 GM. The only GMs that might be better than him are freaking Brett Veach of the Chiefs and Niners. Probably Niners. I'm probably Niners. I'm gonna give that one to them. I'm not giving that to Jerry Jones. I don't think Jerry Jones is stuck in hell. He's stuck in hell. Yeah. So yeah, I don't even remember where I started this whole thing at. Or I'm just gonna keep going until I run out of things to say. It's just funny because this isn't even like the weirdest. Like, the Eagles draft was really nice, really good. I think we killed it, or at the very least, I think we did as good as we could. And I don't have any qualms, Which, speaking of qualms, it's funny. I actually watched that Tom Brady roast the other day when it was live. It came on. I was like, oh yeah. My girl and I, we watched the Cat Williams comedy special, and we were like, oh, there's no jokes here. We gave it 26 minutes and then we left and we went to the Tom Brady roast. And the Tom Brady roast was, funny enough, ironically enough, hosted by Cat Williams. Not Cat Williams. Kevin Hart. And we watched this, and we're like, this is actually really funny. This is actually entertaining. Granted, though, if you were offended by the roast, I'm not going to tell you how to feel. The roast definitely harkened back to the old, 2000s Comedy Central roasts, or even older roasts than that. It harkened back to an era. I'll say that. An era that many people wished we didn't bring back. And I'm cool with it never coming back. I got no issue with that. If anyone ever wanted to actually watch that roast, there's a lot of homophobic slurs. Don't get me wrong. There's a lot of them. It felt almost like a weird time machine, You ever just seen something that just feels so not of this era, not of its current era? It almost felt like it should have been made for a completely different year. That was this roast. And I remember listening, it's like they're making jokes about Aaron freaking Hernandez. Whoa, and not just the comedians. I'm talking Edelman, Gronk. They're making Aaron Hernandez jokes. What's happening, bro? What are we doing? You got Bill Belichick making jokes, and I think the one weird moment was Jeff Ross making a massage joke about Robert Kraft, and Tom telling him, no, you can't do that, no. So that was weird, really weird. But the whole special just felt off. But it was funny, but it was off. And you got people talking about what's her name? Giselle, which apparently her name is even Giselle, it's Gazelle. My girl was telling me about that during her poetry slam show, which by the way, follow Poetry Slam on YouTube. That's slam with two M's. Poetry Slam. Every weekend. A hour-long show. Yeah, bro, like, by the way, I'm gonna cut down on them likes. Don't worry. Will I cut down on the bros? I'm not gonna guarantee that, but the likes I will. I'm gonna cut down on those. It was so interesting. I'm just gonna call her Giselle right now because I don't feel like changing anything about how I talk right now about with Gazelle. I'm gonna say Giselle right now. Y'all know what I'm talking about. So like they were making jokes about Giselle the whole night. No comedian left Giselle unturned. She was roasted more than Tom, I felt. And people, there was a bit of outrage about it. There was outrage about everything, most things. But this has some outrage, and I'm not gonna lie. I, I'm not like, look, did she deserve some of those jokes? I'm not gonna hold you, yeah, but see, here's my problem, I guess. Kim Kardashian took a lot of jokes, or at least like quite a few jokes. She even got booed. But you want to know the difference between how Kim was treated and how Giselle was treated? Kim was invited to the roast and allowed to go on stage. So Kim was allowed and given the chance to quip back. But with Giselle, it almost felt like they was just cornering her in an alley and just wailing at her, and she had no chance to fight back. Like, she didn't get a chance to even fight back. Granted, would she have been invited to this thing? I personally would. Tom, I would have invited her. Was she invited? I have no clue. But if I was Tom, yeah, invite her. Like, let's go. Like, here you go. Take your free shot. I'm gonna get my free shot. Let's do it. Let's go for it. But I guess Tom ain't feel like that, or maybe she just didn't want to go. I have no clue. Well, so it's like, I get the whole, it's a roast, get over it. But I also feel like that, I feel like you could have, I feel like I understand the frustration, because I think she did deserve, I think the problem is just that she did not get a chance to fight back verbally. Like, she didn't get a chance to box. Now, did she actually cheat on Tom with her jiu-jitsu instructor? I'm not gonna hold you, dog. Probably. They was probably flirting before all of it. Like, you can say, oh, well, they were already separated. But also, let's be real, she got that man real quick after they separated. Like, there wasn't even time. Like, this man was macking. This man must either have light speed riz, or they was making googly eyes at each other during her marriage to Tom. Like, in that moment, that period of time where, like, they're not even like talking. Like, that awkward moment where they're probably walking past each other in the house, but they ain't saying nothing, and the kids notice the awkwardness. She probably going to her instructor talking about, my husband does not understand me. I don't know. I can do a Brazilian accent. my my husband doesn't understand me. Starts just freaking dancing. All he cares about is football. Oh, and he's probably just sitting there like, oh, Gazelle. Oh, I feel for you so. Please rest your head on my shoulder. So they was flirting. They was flirting before this. They got together way too quick. So do I think she was cheating in the literal sense of it? Yes. I think she was emotionally cheating on Tom. That is my opinion on that. I'm not saying it happened. I'm just saying, but it just feels. It feels like that's what it's leaning towards. Now, at the end of the day, Tom is also a cheater, or at the very least, he can be. But he has scumbag in his bones too. Don't get me wrong. Let's not forget he didn't just get with. He wasn't just with Giselle his whole famous life. He got with her after he was with Bridget Moynihan, and then Bridget Moynihan was having his baby, and he was just like, cool. So now it's like Tom's not some innocent goober. He's also a bit of a d-bag. We know Tom's a d-bag. Let's be real. We all know Tom is a bit of a d-bag. And I refuse to believe that all these NFL, male fans are sitting here like, after years of bashing Tom Brady, all of a sudden now you want to cheer him because he, was cool with people calling his wife a whore. Like, come on. I don't know. I don't like nonsense. Like, I'm not. Well, actually, no. I love nonsense. I love being silly, but I don't like blatant ignorance. I don't like blatant willful ignorance. Let's be real with ourselves. Tom decided that football was better than Giselle, and Giselle couldn't take it. So she cheated on Tom. And while not cool, you understand the story. So yeah, it's dumb stuff. I don't respect cheaters. Not at all. But that marriage was ending regardless. And yeah, Tom, you should have known that your wife was doing that. How do you not know? But yeah. That's my take on that. Ooh, that cauliflower pizza is catching up to me, man. Ugh. Man, I'm not gonna hold you. Cauliflower pizza. It's actually not that bad. If you ever go to Aldi's, get yourself some cauliflower crust pizza. It's actually not bad at all. Especially if you have like a gluten allergy, it seems pretty nice. Yeah. I crave pizza sometimes, honestly. I don't know what it is. I just crave pizza. I really, really, really like pizza. What kind of pizza, you may ask? Pepperoni. But I used to have a go-to order at Domino's. They used to do it was 3 toppings for like $7.99. See, there she goes trying to call me. Give me a second. Hold on. Hello.
Okay.
Oh, I'm not done yet, actually.
Hey, sorry. I was hoping you were done too. I just want my phone.
Oh no, it's.
Like an hour. It seems like
Oh my gosh, it's been an hour? Hold on, I know I have been recording for an hour. Wait a minute. Huh? Oh,
recording for Ramble.
wow. I've been recording.
That quarter.
Oh my gosh, I've been recording for that long. But yeah, no, but when I sent that, I was definitely like 2 minutes away from recording. Wow. That's crazy.
Wow. Okay, well, sorry I disrupted you.
No, you're fine. No, you're fine.
Okay.
Mm-mm, I'm rambling actually. No, it's fine though. I mean, I was I was telling people that I was listening to your or I was talking to Mike saying that I was listening to your stream while I was recording. Don't worry, you'll hear about it. Yes. Okay. Wait. Yes. Okay. That was funny, y'all. That was really funny. She didn't know. It's okay. She didn't expect me to record this long. I'm not gonna hold you. I didn't expect to be recording this long either. It's literally almost been like an hour, it seems. Well, see, on my computer it says 37 minutes. So in my brain, I didn't think it was that long. I don't know. It's weird. Like 30 minutes doesn't feel long, but 45 minutes feels like an eternity sometimes. Like if somebody tells me that, oh yeah, it's only 30 minutes away, I'm like, cool, that's short. I'll take that drive. 45 minutes away, now I'm like, I'll think about it. Within an hour away, I'm like, that's pretty far. I don't think I can do that. I have a friend having a birthday soon, and they basically live like an hour and some change away. They live in Baltimore, and my goodness, I wish I could go to their party, but I don't know if I can make it. It's too far, too far. Like I said, it feels like 30 minutes shorter though, and it feels so arbitrary because 30 minutes does not, you know. I mean, yeah, when you stack time on top of each other, it seems longer, but at the same time, an hour doesn't seem that long. That's at least like an episode of X-Men 97. You are an X-Men 97 episodes worth away. Speaking of X-Men 97, oh my gosh, and maybe this is like the last thing I'll talk about. I don't know. It's like I'm caught up right now, and I pray that I upload this before, like, I pray I don't take like another month to upload. But like I'm so caught up at this point. And I think May 15th is the final episode of the season or the series. I don't know. I don't know what's going on. But man, this show has been amazing. And also, by the way, I saw a glimpse of spoilers alert, spoiler alert. You guys are going to get spoiled if you continue to listen to this. After, I'm going to give you all 15 seconds to click away. Okay? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. Yeah, I don't feel like waiting that long. Anyway. Yeah. It's crazy because they've been calling this man Professor X, Professor Poon. Professor Poon is crazy. I have never in my life heard such an insult to this man, Professor X, but at the same time, I almost dig it. He kind of feels like a coon at times, doesn't he? Please, Magnus, you must understand these people. They only are angry and violent because you scare them. If you show them how peaceful that we mutants can be, then maybe their hearts will change. And Magneto's just sitting there like, bro, you wasn't, bro. Like, I just watched like 100 of my homies just get smoked by these sentinels. Like, what are you on about? You sitting there trying to lecture me about, oh, please don't hurt the people. But then I'm sitting here thinking in my head, this man really telling me to not hurt nobody after I just watched them all cheer my homies get killed. Like, while you up on the up hanging out with the Shi'ar people, beating cheeks in space, I'm down here basically carrying on what you started. I'm trying to carry on for you because I'm thinking it's your dead. But you up in space, getting booty, and I'm down here watching people die. You had a mission. This is your mission, and you didn't even see it through to completion. So how much faith in this mission did you actually have? Man, but also I understand Professor X. Professor X, he's like, yo, I'm just trying to show people that we're not angry, violent people. Like, we're normal people. We want to live just like you. There's almost a Martin Luther King, Malcolm X feel to it, and maybe that's what Stan Lee and the creators of the X-Men back in the '60s, maybe that's what they had observed from like the Black Civil Rights movement. Because yeah, like X-Men is woke. Come on, y'all. Let's be real with ourselves. Like, if you're not a fan of woke things, or quote woke things, then I hope you don't watch or read X-Men. Like, just leave it be. Because X-Men is about the most wokest thing that you could ever experience in superhero media. It's literally about oppression and civil rights and genocide. Man, and X-Men 97 it didn't shy away from anything. Like, oh man, this show goes crazy. And I remember just like looking at episode 5 and feeling so heartbroken for everything. It sucked. Oh man. And I remember the kid mutant, he's like, oh, like, Magneto, please. And Magneto's like, don't worry, kid, I ain't gonna let nothing happen to you. And then he gets eradicated. And it's like, dag. But then you want him to be peaceful. That ain't gonna work. But also, you have to remember that these mutants, they can kill. If they wanted to kill humans, they could and they would. And granted, I don't think the Marvel heroes would let them. Like, I don't think Captain America and Iron Man and all these people would let them. But God have mercy, like, what choice would they even have? Like, if you keep pushing, I remember during the 2020 George Floyd protests, this woman made a video and she basically said, oh man, remembering the line, she said, you're lucky, all we want is equality and not revenge. Something like that. It was something like that. Something to that effect. And I remember that really hit me. Because I'm thinking in my head, wow. People have revolted in other nations for less. The Civil War was started because of slavery and states' rights to own slaves. They started a civil war over owning chattel slavery, over the concept of just having chattel slaves. Black people have gone through so much. Native Americans have gone through, but see, they basically stomped out Native Americans so hard that they don't have the resources to revolt. Native Americans mostly don't have all of that wealth, and the ones that do aren't going to upend the status quo. They're going to continue to work within the system to get more money. So all of their rebellious spirit has been kind of stomped out, it's been snuffed. But black people, no matter what, it hasn't been snuffed. It hasn't. And granted, we do not outnumber any race in this country. So black people can't, I doubt we can revolt, but the fact that no, like, major Nate's rebellion type thing has started in the modern era is definitely part of it is because the black messiah fear that they had in like the mid 60s and early 70s that basically made the FBI, especially that chump J. Edgar Hoover, pretty much start the destabilization of the black community, especially when it came to things like destabilizing the Black Panthers, you know, uh, putting crack in the inner city, blah 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 blah. I mean, I don't think J. Edgar Hoover was in the FBI by that point, but in the 80s they were like, yeah, let's just keep continuing his mission, you know. um, the fact that black people haven't done more is impressive. It's a show of restraint. You know, black people even in the 90s, even in the 2010s, like they were rioting in the streets, and they could have did a lot more. They could have went to rich white neighborhoods and just started burning stuff down. You know, they really could have kicked up a new civil war. You know, it's, and I think that's like the whole thing X-Men is trying to say. Like, you keep messing with these, keep oppressing people, and see what happens. Yeah, no one's going to like hit you with a Magneto level, you know, magnetic shockwave that shuts down the entire planet's freaking, you know, electric field and puts the entirety of Earth into a blackout. Yeah, they ain't gonna do that. But you get things like, you know, the unfortunate attacks in October from Hamas in Israel. Like, you get things like that. Like, that's like the pure essence of it, really. And it's a shame because it's like you don't agree with Magneto's methods, but you agree, but you're sympathetic. You know, you don't agree with what he's doing. You don't want people hurt. In the same way, you don't want poor Jewish kids hurt from Hamas. You know, you don't want them hurt. You want them killed. Like, that stuff was heartbreaking. Like, no one wants to see poor women and kids be kidnapped and their fathers and grandfathers murdered. No one wants to see that, you know? But you also bear witness to a system that creates that kind of climate. And in that same vein, the X-Men 97 writers were like, yeah, like, you don't want to cheer for Magneto, but he feels like there's nothing else he can do. He tried doing it Charles's way, and it didn't work. He still had to. He let his guard down, and they did all of that. What else could Magneto do except try to kill everyone? You know, what else? Rogue. I mean, Sunspot. You know, poor dude. Like, his own mom turned him in. That's crazy. His own mom, and we thought his mom was gonna be cool, but she betrayed them. She betrayed him. She let him get arrested. Like, yeah, I don't blame him for feeling disillusioned. When your family turns you in like that sucks. It's just one of those things where they show off how mutants they can't catch a break. And people like, and even when you think you have an ally like Captain America, even he's like, let's do it the right way. But the right way just makes more, it prolongs the problem. And to go back to the black metaphor, or even just any oppressed group, like, they try fitting in and the broader society didn't want them, you know? So then they tried to make their own communities, you know, like how black people tried to make Black Wall Street in Tulsa or Rosewood. You know, there's a lot of black communities that were formed where they had their own local economies. Palestinians thrived within their own little enclave that were carved out for them. And they were not allowed to exist. because the broader powers didn't want them gaining that level of autonomy, because that level of autonomy creates independence, and independence eventually leads to people going, well, wait, why do we even need to rely on the broader society? We have our own society now, you know? Like, yeah, you can, and yeah, you can say, well, it is all Israel, so so the Jewish people deserve to settle wherever they want to. But it's also like, well, you carved out this land for them. You're still taking their land away. Like, they can't have the land they that you forced them onto. Imagine if the U.S. government uh, was like encroaching on territorial, reservation lands for tribes, which they actually are, by the way. There are some instances of people still, like non-Native Americans, still like, you know, pushing into reservation land to build businesses and whatnot. So really, it's like can't catch a break. The mutants had Genosha, and they still had Genosha blown up. And granted, once again, that was an evil plot from Mr. Sinister and Bastion, but it isn't like Bastion was just acting and the broader world didn't agree. Freaking A, you had evil world leaders going, haha, whatever. Like Doctor Doom of all people. Going like, huh, okay, whatever. Like, I don't like turning a blind eye to war crimes, but broader public opinion was just like, oh, okay, like, they're gonna kill us now, huh? Oops. I don't know, it just feels weird. Not weird, sorry, it's so fitting of our modern world. And I think this is why X-Men 97 exists the way it exists. Because it almost feels... See, in the original 92 series, you had Professor X, and Professor X was like a father figure. He was this fatherly figure for everyone. Everyone loved Professor X from that series. But in 90, and it felt like it was made for the 90s, where it was all this optimism, like this intercultural optimism. Communism was over. It felt like racism wasn't an effective, like, social tactic anymore. Everything felt positive, like it was about to turn for the better. Everything felt brighter, more pastel, more colorful. And then X-Men 97 is made for the 2020s, like, mentality. Someone like Professor X isn't seen anymore in a positive light. Someone bartering for peace between two groups of people where one's oppressed and one's the oppressor. They're tired of Professor X. That's why they're calling him Professor Coon on Twitter. People are tired of him. People in universe, people are tired of him. Mutants are like, look, you're getting us killed. Like, you're trying to angle for peace, but they don't want peace. They want to kill us. So yeah, we're gonna fight back now. I'm tired of listening to you, Uncle Tom, your way. You trying to find peace. The same old, same old. How many more? What did it say? How many more bodies? How many more bones are you gonna sacrifice for your goal, Xavier? Like, I get it. I don't agree with Magneto's methods, but I get why he's angry. Masterful writing. It's just masterful writing. It's really good. And wow, this has gone on for about an hour. Let's end this. I think it's time to kick y'all out of the Ramble Room. I'm gonna try this again. I had fun. This went on for about an hour. I doubt all of you are gonna be listening for that long, but if you do, cool. Thanks. I'm gonna also fill in with my other shorter, videos as well, but for now, y'all, it's time for you to leave the ramble room. Uh, bye.